Hello, bonjour, Alberta. Did you know that at least 238,000 people speak français in Alberta? And those numbers just keep on growing? Oui, oui, c'est vrai, it's true. And thanks to Shaw TV Community Access Programming, we get to reach out to everyone to let you know all about special people, places, events, and activities happening right here in this great province, in both English and en français. That's right, mes amis. We begin the first part of our program in English, and then we repeat it en français. So stay with us. Restez à l'écoute.
Hello, bonjour, Alberta. I'm your host, Marc Lalonde. This is the only bilingual television, community television talk show produced of its kind in Canada. We've been making it here in Calgary since 2012, thanks to Shaw TV's community access programming. Did you know that here in Calgary, you can actually get driver's training in French if you like? And to that point, we have two gentlemen with us today who are going to tell us all about it. We are very pleased to have Moez Haji, who is the owner, director, administrator, chief bottle washer for Route2Freedom Driver Education. And we have Nelson Chateauneuf, who has all the same positions with Okotoks and SouthTr Driver Education. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good day, Mark.
So it's very nice to have you. We always start by finding out about you as people, first of all. You're two francophones with, I'm guessing, somewhat different backgrounds. Let's start with you, Moez. Tell us where you're originally from, how you went through life to end up being here.
Okay, I was born in Congo, which is Central Africa. My parents are Indians. They were born in Tanzania, Africa, and in the late 50s, my dad moved to Congo, the Belgian Congo, and my mom moved to Burundi. And somehow they met and they married. So I was born in Congo at that time. I went to Belgian schools, Belgian private schools. That's how I speak French. In 95, I left Congo and I moved to Portugal, Lisbon, where I learned the language and the culture. And that's only in 95 where I moved to Calgary for like about 3 years. And after that, my wife and I and my daughter, we moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba for the next 14 years. And here I'm back in Calgary.
Where it's warm.
Warmer. You're right.
Warmer, I guess. Not like Central Congo.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So what kind of education have you had throughout your life?
I have a diploma in early childhood education and a certificate in commercial driving school. And
so the two go together quite nicely, do they?
Kind of. It's like instructing, teaching in both cases. And for both courses, actually, I went to Red River College in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great. Let's switch to you, Nelson.
Well, Mark, mine is all the way back from Quebec, born in 1956 in beautiful Chibougamau, northern Quebec.
Ah.
When we moved early, I was quite young. I moved to Thetford Mines, country of asbestos. And times were getting pretty rough, early 72, 75 and so on. And the mines were shutting down, like they were falling down like flies. And so a lot of people were saying, well, go out west, young man. You know, that old saying.
Try that out. Okay.
Yeah, let's go out west. You know, I knew a lot of people here.
Did you speak English already at that point?
Yes, I was going to English school in Thetford Mines.
Okay.
And yeah, I finally gathered up a few dollars and I had landed in Calgary in late 76 with $18 in my pockets, you know, in February. But I had a place to stay. You know, I had friends, yeah, I knew some people. So yeah, that's how it came up to coming to Calgary 40 years ago.
But you've been here for 40 years. Have you been doing this for 40 years?
No, I've been, my trade coming out of Thetford was auto mechanics. So I was a mechanic, and I practiced that, and eventually people were calling me like a grease monkey, and I was saying, what's a grease monkey? And I caught on, and I said, whoa, that's not me.
That's not what you like. Eh?
No, and so I got into a little construction, and later on, not too much later, I got into driving taxi because a friend of mine got me into it, you know, and it was fun. It was fun as a young kid, you know.
But you got to really see what Calgary drivers are like.
Yeah,
as
well,
a taxi driver.
So I've been driving a lot of years, accident-free, ever since I've got my driving license. As far as a collision in my fault,
yes.
never. Yeah. But yeah, I had collisions. I don't have enough fingers to count them on. People running red lights. And
so how did you get into the driver training business?
Driver training business, when I became a supervisor at a major company in Calgary, I got into training drivers, quite a few drivers, and it went on, and then I decided to go on my own into getting these licensing and the certificates through Alberta Transportation, getting certified to be an instructor, and then I joined a company, and after that I went out to form Okotoks Driver Education and a SouthTr Driving Education just coming out next week or so. So.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question is, you know, how did your businesses get started? And we've got that to some degree on yours, Nelson. How about you, Moez? At what point did you actually set up a driver training company somewhere?
To be very honest, the credit goes to my wife.
As always.
I have to be very honest. What happened is, like in Winnipeg, my wife used to take some driving lessons with the driving school, and she was amazed how busy they were. It was like one after the other. So after a few lessons, she sat with me and she said, listen, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, fine. What's the matter? And I was expecting something like, you know, you did this and you did that. And no, this time it wasn't. This time she said, listen, you know I take driving lessons and you have no idea how these people are busy. I said, yeah, but so what? And she said, you should get into that. I said, me teaching? I can't teach even you. That's why you're taking lessons, right? She said, no, think about it. And so then I approached Manitoba Public Insurance because I knew they were advertising for instructors, like Francophone instructors. They use like advertising.
Okay.
So she said, this is the ad, why don't you phone them? I said, fine. So I phoned them and they said, yeah, we're looking for instructors, but you have to go to Red River College to be like a certified instructor.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I had an interview. They said, fine, you have the qualities we're looking for, but we need you to go to Red River College.
Okay, so once you got the certification, did you go and work for another company for a while?
No, I opened my own company right away.
Right away?
Yeah.
Wow, just like that.
Right away. And then I approached them, and we signed a commercial contract for until like 2010.
Well, Winnipeg has a fairly significant Francophone population. Is there a fair bit of demand for, both of you offer services in English also, of course, like any other regular driver training company. But is there much of a market for the French services here?
Go ahead, please.
Definitely, yes. My business is, I would say, 40 to 50% Francophone.
Oh, wow. And how does that compare in your case?
I wouldn't say 40, 50%, but yeah, I do have quite a few Francophones, either new Canadians or Canadians that their kids are learning French, or new kids from Quebec.
So it is fairly common.
So there is a market for it, but they're tough to go get, I find.
Well, we're getting the word out, I guess. I've had a little experience myself recently with someone coming from outside of Canada needing to go and pass the tests to get the Canadian driver's license. And of course, most people drive somewhere else already. So do you have to deal with a fair bit of that? Where people come from elsewhere and need to go?
So far this year for me, it's just starting. Our busy season is starting May, June, July, August, September. Yeah. Up to about December is our busy season. So at the moment, I can't say this year I've had any new Canadians that have a different experience in their country than we do here. I had, Filipinos, Filipinos where he says, I've never driven a car.
Oh, that's right, because...
But he says, I've had a motorcycle.
That's different.
Now this guy's 27 years old.
Okay.
And he says, stop signs, we don't have that. He says, lines on the street, we don't have that. I said, well, welcome to Calgary, welcome to Alberta, but we do here, and we'll teach you how they work, what they're all about.
Well, Moez, you must have had a driver's license in the Congo.
Yes, yes, and I had a driver's license in Europe because I used to live in Portugal.
That's right.
To answer to your question, my experience is slightly different. Yes, I do have all the time people coming from other countries.
I should mention, I believe your business is primarily centered in the north and northeast,
northwest.
Whereas a lot of immigrants tend to settle there, whereas you're more in the south.
I'm more in the south, south of the city center, all the way to Okotoks.
So you're seeing a lot more francophones from other parts of Canada and people learning French. So sorry, go ahead.
So let's put it this way. Any country you go to, driving is different, right? So you come to Canada where we have regulations, we have a Highway Traffic Act and all these things. People coming from other countries, they've been driving for 20, 15, 45 years, whatever. They come here, they say, okay, I just need a brush-up lesson so Joe, I can pass the road test. I said, fine, so let's have a first lesson and see what's happening. And there you go. You say, okay, well, you know what? If it's passing the road test, I believe, honestly, like my humble opinion to you is, you might need more than one lesson because Canada is different. And that's when they realize. So yeah, Winnipeg was the same thing. They come.
So are we generally more dangerous and carefree than other countries?
I wouldn't say so.
No?
I would say I love Canada. It's a pleasure teaching in Canada. I think this is one of the best countries in the world. I have family coming from Europe, and they surprised. The first thing they say, wow, streets are quiet.
And clean.
People don't, people don't honk, right? We're very polite. Canada is one of the best countries. I would say it's a pleasure.
Certainly. I drove in Brazil in 2013 in Salvador, northeast Brazil.
I've been there.
And you were there?
Oh yeah, it's
pretty city, but very dangerous.
Yes.
But these traffic circles are 4 lanes. I understand England is all about that, but for me, the first time coming into a traffic circle with 4 lanes, hey brother, how do we get out of here now? He says, tap your horn once. It meant something. Tap your horn twice means something else. Thank you, or
navigating in and out. Yeah, see, we don't have to deal with that, at least. In your businesses, are there particular challenges to operating this way? We don't have much time left, but...
Yeah, the thing is, first of all, is I would prefer to teach somebody who never drove. The thing is, when you have somebody coming from another country, like I mentioned, and who drove many years, the first thing is you need to undo habits. Then re-implement what we do in Canada, the Canadian way.
Okay, so that's a little more...
That's what I find.
And you have to get buy-in to do that.
I wouldn't say challenge, but this is the most difficult part. I would rather have a 14-year-old, never drove, take him from scratch and...
all the way up with all the right habits. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's Moez Haji and Nelson Chateauneuf. Chateauneuf, Newcastle, that's right, from their respective driving companies. Thanks to all of our volunteers, and thanks for watching. Stay with us, on continue en français.